What's going on, folks? I'm AutoMattock. I wanted to talk about Beerus' move list, perhaps exchange ideas so we can kind of figure this out together and talk about what I know about the moves and how can you hit them with it and what happens when you do. So we're going to go over Beerus' special move list and some of the normals as well, just general overall look at the character. So I'm going to go to the special move list. What do we got here? Sphere of Destruction. Okay, so I'm going to lump this in with the plural form of Spheres of Destruction, and some of his like his down S, this also puts out Spheres of Destruction. So the special move, the quarter circle forward, or excuse me, the 236L, 236M, or 236H. That's also how you can get a Sphere of Destruction out there. Now, there's multiple ways you can manipulate this sort of idea. If you just hit the button, let go of it, you'll kick it, and the light version launches it towards your opponent, or I should say toward the medium version launches it towards the ground up into the air, and this will leave it at about the medium range here. The EX, I guess you can say, the H version, you can do three different things as far as this is concerned. You can kick both. Maybe you hit like in the middle. You can hold up. It'll hit just the top one. It'll behave the same way that the M version behaves. Or you can hold down and then hit the bottom one, and it'll behave the same way that the light version does. So if you hold any of these buttons, you just do a sphere. You'll place it, and you'll get different options depending on which one you use. The light version will just stay in front of you. The medium version will launch upwards, and the EX version will do both. So that's how you execute the moves. As far as implementation, there's some interesting ideas there. I haven't quite solved the puzzle yet, but I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things you can do with them. You can move them around with your normals. This is the air one. You can also double jab in the air. Now, interestingly enough, you can cancel your whiff normals if they contact with a Sphere of Destruction. You can cancel it into Super Dash, and this will be kind of cool when we can figure this out. See how that kind of puts it on top of them, and maybe I can generate some pressure here. The thing when you're expressing this kind of idea, what prioritizes first and foremost is if your opponent is super dashing. If they're mashing a super dash, they literally have no care in the world. Maybe they even see you do it and they're just saying, well, does this work? If you do the kick, it's gonna work. So if I'm using this amount of total frames here, and they're just super dashing, maybe they do actually anticipate it, the super dash will punish it. However, if you just hold it out, you'll recover much faster than if you kick it. So you can potentially down H it. Now, keep in mind, down H is not upper body invincible on the first frame. So you have to have some space. I'm getting counter hit, but I have recovered. So if I do it far away, I'm gonna time the super dash a little bit later. Here we go, here we go. Okay, I get it, I gotta do this first. Then I can 2H it. So that's a decent way to maybe bait it. A little bit. We'll see how that comes along. The other option here, since I'm getting counter hit, I know I've recovered in time. So if I have something that's invincible immediately, you know, it might work, right? If I do the level 3 here. Let me demonstrate the same way I was doing it. The level 3 will actually... What? Why does it happen when I make a YouTube video? I've never seen that before. Okay, one more time. There we go. That's much better. Wow, I've never seen it whiff before like that. So yeah, the level 3 isn't a bad option against the super dash by itself. So if you do recover in time, I think that's a great way to punish somebody who's, you know, aggressively, we'll say, super dashing at all times, as you will experience in the, you know, online. Online matches, you'll see it all the time. So is there anything else about Spheres of Destruction? The down S will travel. It will travel at a how can you say, a diagonal angle? And I mean, I don't know how to use it. It's there. You can also cancel this off of any normal really, but the down H. This is okay. I think you recover in time. We can test this. We can test this to see if they're mashing super dash. You can block in time, but it kind of nullifies it. So what you can do in this situation, it seems that the special move with the Sphere of Destruction will recover faster than the down S. I could be wrong about that, but the way I feel like that's true is because if I do this instead, let me record it. I do this instead, I should have enough time to anti-air them if they super dash here. That's awesome. So if I'm able to punish them for making that decision, I can then maybe at a later time use that sphere in a way that can further provide me pressure, right? Maybe I can do H, they block it, I do a sphere. I hold it, and then I can cancel super dash, that kind of thing, maybe. Call and assist stuff. It's there. I think the creative ideas are absolutely there if you can get the sphere out. I think it's pretty cool if you vanish, and then you hit the pressure, eventually they reach towards the sphere, and then they're in the block zone from the sphere, and then you can do something else. So I think there's some cool things you can do with this projectile. Yeah, oh, and you do also have this move, Portal Circle Forward S. It doesn't seem very good in neutral, but that may change. And the reason why is because the orbs that are behind you, it's hard to use all these orbs, is what I think right now. It's hard to really use these effectively. Even if I vanish here, and I kind of put them behind the orbs, like what is this really doing? You know, I gotta find a way to effectively use Dragon Rushes, overheads, and combo into them. And maybe we'll go on that later down the line. I'll make a separate video if I find some stuff or if I steal some tech. Speaking of stealing some tech, I saw Flo using the hard knockdown in the corner to use this kind of thing. The hard knockdown, you get a down 8. Do the down H in the air. That'll cause the knockdown in this position here. And I can set the spheres. And they wake up into it. And now these backdoors may become more useful. Or excuse me, spheres of destruction. Okay, that's enough about that move. So let's go back down to our list. Special move list. God of Destruction's Rampage. This is quarter circle back and your buttons. Light, medium, heavy, or the EX version. So let me see if I got some notes on this. You can use this in your aerial rave combos to extend the damage a little bit. What I really want to talk about is the knockdown state that it puts your opponent in. The light version is faster than the medium version. So you can do some combos from here, maybe a little bit like this. And then the light version, as you can see, the medium version does not hit. But if I do the light version, it'll combo, and then from there I can, off of one hit, actually off of 2 hits I can do it as well, but I want to demonstrate someone else too. I can do the down super, and that'll combo as well. That's okay. I think there are very specific situations where that is optimal. In this combo, not so much, but I want to demonstrate that it's possible to do that. But the knockdown off of this, they're able to flip out of it, and they're further away. If you're able to combo the M, what's this move? Which is called a Rampage. God of Destructions. We know Beerus, we get it. You kill things, you destroy them, and you erase them. Okay, I got it. Rampage. The M version, they stay on the ground. So, you can't combo this with your regular normals in the air. But with down H, you can combo it. However, if you're not in the corner, I'll give you an example. It won't connect. They'll get launched too far away. But in the corner, let's see if I can do this right. Oh, I missed the down H. Okay, I destroyed the down H. Now it'll combo, and then you get this knockdown. And then, since you're left airborne after this rampage, you have an action available to you. So there's a couple things you can do here. You can combo into super. Level 3 will work as well. This music, that works. Or you can accept that hard knockdown and place a sphere of destruction, right? Something like this. And now you have this situation, whatever it is that you may be able to do off of this. And of course you can combine assist. Maybe you'll find the overhead, you know, combo city, whatever it is that you feel is right. You know, I think the basis is overheads, Dragon Rush, delay pressure strings. I think those are some of the ways that you can open people up. But yeah, that's the corner situation that I'm seeing with this down H. Now, excuse me, the quarter circle back, medium punch, Rampage. Okay, now the H version, the EX version, will track them no matter where you're at on the screen, as long as you're on the ground. In the air, it does not seem to do that. So if I use the pulse, it'll track them. But if they're a moving target, it seems to track wherever you activated it at, it'll go to that position. So if I record the dummy dashing toward me, and then I try to track that, it doesn't work. It goes to where I think you activate it. It goes to where you activate it, and then it won't home in on them. But I think that's pretty cool. Something that you might consider is if they're using a beam, right? They do a beam, and then you go over it with the Rampage, right? That seems pretty good. Another thing to note is that if you use Rampage, it can out-prioritize the super dash. So if they're super dashing while you do this, while it's active, I should say more accurately, if they super dash into it, it'll out-prioritize it. It will out-prioritize it. But I don't suggest doing this on reaction to the super dash because it does have a considerable amount of storm. So if I do this on reaction, I can be countered it. But if I already have it out there, as you can see, it's that slow. If I already have it out there, then I'll beat the super dash. So if I'm doing something like this, and then I immediately do the rampage, if my opponent sees that sphere, they might be encouraged to super dash at. But then if I immediately go into this, if I immediately go into rampage after putting one out there, hold it, rampage. Then I could potentially beat that super dash, and then I have a sphere available to use for however it is that you may use this. And yeah, that's going to take some developing. I think I may perhaps make a video solely, do some research on that, and just be on that sphere. Because that is definitely something that is of interest with this character. So that's almost it. We're almost there. I want to talk a little bit about his normals, his regular stuff. The specials are almost self-explanatory. Where should I start? We'll go with some of the normals. So crouching M, or 2M. Crouching M reaches almost full screen. It is a low attack, not quite full screen. If you're dashing, you might have some momentum to reach them. Over this, you can do the standing M or 5M. I'm going a little too deep with that. You can cancel over that 5M, do whatever it is the optimal combo is. I don't really know at this point, but we got those there. It's a decent punish. There are some things you can reflect. There are some situations where you can reflect and then crouch M immediately, and you can potentially punish the recovery of your opponent's like the staggered string. That's something I really want to talk about. Maybe this video isn't the place for it, but I think that after your opponent has reached a point in their stagger stream where they've already done their low attack, I think at that point, reflect can be pretty good because they can't keep you in block stun. You have to, okay, first of all, you have to be standing to do the reflect. But if you're mashing on reflect standing and then they hit you with a low, then you will be hit because you're standing. But if they've already done the last portion of the string where they can potentially do a low attack, then I think the reflect is really good. Maybe I can demonstrate this with Cell. So if I do something like this, no staggering. I saw the low attack, so then if I start using the reflect, I know they're not going to hit me low. And then maybe I could potentially punish this, right? Not quite. I think he could have blocked there, but that gives you an idea of how you can reduce their pressure, or at least neutralize it. But yeah, I think that 2M can come in handy for this kind of situation. And I've been kind of theory fighting, but let me get back on the subject here. So that crouching aim is pretty good. We should talk about his key blast. His down H. I mean, everybody has a down H with upper body invincibility. It'll beat the super dashes, some instant air dashes. His down H is not as good as somebody like Frieza's. You can tell the amount of space that it covers. It's maybe a higher hitbox. Beerus goes backwards. And it doesn't really hit much in front of him. So it does require a bit more timing on super dashes. But yeah, it's serviceable. It's definitely there. But it's hard to actually combo it in some situations. For example, if I'm mid-screen, I do H, that'll whiff. So I have to do down H, just one, and then go into this. And the reason why I want that down H is because I also want to spike them in some situations. Or excuse me, is it called smash? Ground smash? Let's get the nomenclature correct. Yeah, so, you know, there's interesting routes that you have to take for optimal situations, optimal damage. So yeah, this down H is what it is. It's not bad. It's more than serviceable. So we'll go on to Key Blast is level 3, and I'll call it a wrap. So his standing H is a singular blast. You can direct your spheres with it a little bit. And by the way, the spheres do have a point of durability. They get ate up by beams. But if they're against another Key Blast, I can demonstrate this. So I'll have him do this, and then I have this out there. It diffuses it. They collide with their durability, so it does give you a little bit of a shield out there. So that S in the same way, I can sort of maybe I can generate pressure with it in the same way. If I have one sphere out there, they do this, and then now I have that behind me just in case they do that. So maybe there's something there. But overall, I think this move is something that you use to vanish off of. You get the wall bounce from this if you time it correctly. That's really all there is to that move, as far as I'm seeing. So his air S can delay it as well. And this is essential in some combos so that all of the spheres can connect in combination with the, what is this move called? God of Destruction's Judgment. You can add on some more damage with this. Gives you a little bit more damage. And you know, just today I was looking at this move like, what is this for? Because, you know, I was looking at another YouTube video, somebody like Master Beerus, blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, you just use this like a get off me move. And then I'm like, alright, done with this video. Turns out that move is actually invincible. It's actually invincible on the startup. So I can kind of demonstrate this with the super dash, although the super dash does beat it. You can see visually how long it takes for it to actually contact, right? You can see that the super dash is actually hitting me at a later part of it. See, I'd even whiffed at that point because I'm invincible while that's happening. So what that tells me is that you can use this in pressure situations. And interestingly enough, it seems like the buffer input for deflect out prioritizes this move here. So you kind of can do both at the same time. It's really strange. Let's see if I can get a decent situation here. So I did a quarter circle back S. If I time it later, then I bypass through it. So if I time it incorrectly, I'll get a deflect. But if I do it maybe as I'm exiting block stun, then I can get the sphere to, what is this called? Rampage? No. Judgment. So yeah, so then, you know, that seems kind of whatever. But if I vanish off of it, I can get the wall bounce. And maybe there's some things you can do with certain assists to capitalize on it. But it actually is a get off me move. That's like one of my pet peeves. It's like a get off me move, or it's you just want to catch your opponent off guard. There's always like a hand gesture associated with it. I'm like, okay, this guy, he's not sure what he's talking about, but okay, I get it. But he was right. It is a get off me move. I was so surprised. And maybe you can super off this as well. And that's okay. That's okay. So I think that wraps it up. Did I miss anything? Oh, the HAKAI, it is invincible. What is this move actually called? Is there a name for it? No, this is Destruction. This is Judgment. Oh. Oh, Destruction's Wrath. That's what this is called. Okay, so the artist formerly known as HAKAI. This is a grab move, but they can jump out of it. They can jump out of it if you just do it in their face. I was doing this in the beta, and it felt good, but the truth is my opponents just didn't know that you can just hold up after it happens and just escape it. There is a way to punish your opponent if they're coming off the ground. It seems like, well, let me just show you what I'm thinking here. If they're jumping, you can time it. So my opponent is definitely holding up right now. You can see in the inputs, they're holding up. So it's like as if your landing recovery has some frames where you can't be grabbed in this matter. So, I mean, maybe they can vanish in this situation too. I'm kind of curious, but it's gonna be challenging to test that. But that's cool. And the other ways you can combo into it, you can sort of do this. Doesn't work all the time. I don't really like that. This is a little more guaranteed. That's okay. In the corner earlier when I was talking about Rampage, the H Rampage off of the down S, down H, or 2H, that will allow you to combo into this. Another way you might be able to use this is during those staggered pressure strings if they're close enough. Let's see if I can give you a brief idea. Let me put this on guard. Record it. Like this, a little bit, right? If I have a gap in between us, I can, you know, level 3. And those seem to be the defensive options, in my opinion, for this game. Your level 3s, your characters with invincible moves, which apparently I have one with Beerus, and deflect. And man, I want to talk about some other stuff too, but this is not the video for it. Deflect is good against assists, I think. Excuse me. So that's it for now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Not only that, but let me know if I have something wrong. It's very important. If I am incorrect about something, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, or if there's anything I missed. I feel like we're all in this learning process together. And, you know, I do hope you do learn something, and I want to learn some stuff as well. So, I think I said all the generic ending of video things. I'm AutoMattock.